Alright, welcome back to the channel. So Christmas has come and gone. I got a fair few games as gifts off the family. So one of those being the Calisto Protocol. I'm definitely enjoying this game, so I want to share my first impressions. A couple of issues, and I'm going to share them too. So maybe first what I'll do is just address the elephant in the room. This is not Dead Space. So basically any of the coverage I've seen of this game, people spend more time talking about Dead Space than they actually do this new IP, and I'm just not going to do that today. I'm going to take a look at this fairly and judge it for the new IP that it is. Anyway, what is Calisto Protocol? Calisto Protocol is a survival action game, and it's based in space. Yeah, I know, I don't want to say the word dead again. Anyway, so I'm going to start out with the graphics first. And I'd actually say this is probably one of the best looking PS5 games I've played yet. Its graphics are amazing. They're running at 4K. Believe it or not, they're running at 30 FPS in high fidelity mode. And the game is actually perfectly playable at 30 FPS. I know you can get into the argument of 30 versus 60, but for this game it's perfectly fine. And specifically it uses RTX lighting, and I would also say that this is the best implementation of RTX used on a console I've seen yet. So next I'm looking at atmosphere, and it being a horror game specifically, I think it does an incredible job in its sound design specifically. It has frequent jump scares and nervy moments, and they're timed really well, to be fair. So what of the combat system itself, the gameplay in general? It's actually a combination of a melee attack system and a third-person shooter system combined. And it does bring some great variety to the combat, although it can be a bit cumbersome at first when you've maybe first hour or so trying to get used to it. In particular, the melee combat and how it's controlled. So with the right analog stick you use to dodge enemies, so you can dodge from left to right by holding down the left or right analog depending on where the enemy swings. And then using a combination of R1 and R2 you can pull off various swings of your melee weapon. And then you can also mix and match with your conventional weapon, in this case a pistol and a shotgun, which I'm using in this clip. So you can swap weapons on the fly for your conventional weapons, as you have one utility basically, and it has attachments. So you can hot swap on the fly. In this case I'm swapping between the pistol and the single-handed shotgun. And this is done by using the right button on the D-pad. So you also have an on-the-fly inventory system, which you actually have to access in-game by pressing the up on the D-pad. And what I like about Calisto Protocol is you're very limited in what you can actually carry. So it does bring that survival horror element to it. You have to scavenge for credits, parts, ammo, and because of the inventory limitation you have to make on-the-fly decisions of what you can and can't bring with you. You can also stomp dead enemies to pick up more ammo, credits, etc. And then you can use those credits or sell those parts to upgrade your weapons and equipment. So the gameplay loop in general is a fairly familiar third-person survival horror romp. Yeah, I think familiar is the word I would use when describing this game. What I would say as well that stands out with the Calisto Protocol, and it's actually one of my favorite things about it, is it's very linear and it doesn't have many branching paths at all. And I actually personally really like that in a pretty much an industry at the moment where a lot of companies are obsessed with padding, and it's nice and refreshing to be able to play a game where you really only have to practically move from point A to point B, and you don't get distracted by needless collectibles and stuff like that. So like overall, what do I think of the Calisto Protocol in general? It's decent. It's a decent game. It's nothing to shout about. There's nothing that's actually blown me away yet, but I went into it with pretty low expectations, and ultimately I am having a lot of fun with it, no problems. I think maybe if I was to suggest to people, I was gifted this for Christmas, I don't know if I'd go out and pay $60 for it or 60 euros at this point in time, but if you can get this on a cheap or on a sale maybe in the next couple of months, it's definitely worth your time. And yeah, I'm probably about halfway, maybe 2/3 into the game, and it's supposed to be maybe only about 8 to 10 hours long. Again, I'm okay with that. I don't like my games being excessively long. I like to be able to pick something up, play it, and be done with it. And this is maybe one of those good picks for a weekend playthrough. Anyway guys, that's it for another first impressions video here on HFC Games. We'll be back next week with more videos. And if you're new to the channel, please consider supporting me by subscribing, again, only if you liked it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.